these 4 ways in which you are known. So he refers to name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Your name is the first. This is accepted by all. By your name alone, the Vaishnava Dharma is manifest. By your name, your form, qualities, and pastimes are made visible. By your name, your Krishna pastimes are known. By your name, the supreme truth about you is manifest. Shri Nama Shmarile Rupa Ashe Sangha Sangha Rupa Nama Binanaya Nacha Nana Range. Anyone who remembers Lord Krishna's name meets Lord Krishna's form. Lord Krishna's name and form are non-different. They are Lord Krishna himself dancing in different dancing places. So in this understanding, we try ourselves to go a little bit deeper. Have we understood this point that the holy name is a person? It is said in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, when a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna conscious and renders service to the Lord, this is called Sevan Mukhe, then the holy name reveals himself as Sri Krishna. So the idea is that through our practice that we will understand that the holy name is Krishna himself. The point there in terms of this title of Seva is that we need to be aware that the holy name is the object of our service, which is indeed Sri Krishna himself. And our chanting is in itself devotional service. We wonder sometimes when we sometimes speak of Japa, it's a little bit, if we haven't managed to chant our rounds in the morning, it feels like it's dragging for most of us. When we've managed in the morning, for most of us, okay, yes, we did it. Even without whatever quality, it's like, okay, somehow, right, I've got that. But still I wondered if there was this consciousness of, this is the very most important thing that I will do today. It would not matter so much as to what time we were able to do it. Because service to do something very important is service, right? So this understanding there behind it, Prabhupada also writes on a lecture of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, as you must have heard, he says, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra means keeping Krishna always within your heart. So therefore, when we are chanting and the focus goes out, some people asked me when we did some practices, how, if they are focusing on the words or the Maha Mantra, can they think about anything else? It's like, and we're only on, and we all fall in this trap, we're only thinking of let's get it done, then the meditation part is often missing. And that meditation part is very much connected with this idea of service or consciousness behind what we are doing. So in this moment, when we pick up the bead bag, instead of thinking, okay, I have 3 rounds to go, 10 rounds to go, we think, okay, Krishna, let me now try to serve you with the holy name. It's changing those thoughts in our dialogue that goes on internally can make a whole difference in our day. In the modern world, we call these sort of affirmations. Mahatma Prabhu has a lot of affirmations which are directly associated with Krishna and Bhakti Yoga. So we can also use these affirmations which are naturally found in Shastra, or also ones that we make in terms that help us. Please, Krishna, in this moment, accept this as service to us, service to you, before we begin to chant. And putting these 2 ideas together, that the holy name is the object of our service and chanting is service. There's 2 things that come together. Our chanting, that's devotional service, is meant to please Krishna. So our object of service is therefore non-different than the name. The Nam Seva becomes Krishna Seva. Yeah, so it's like a whole, I will go at this from different angles, because right now in today's lecture, we just speak on the philosophical points. If you join us for this hour in the evening, 5 to 6, we do practical examples. But if the point hasn't come in, it hasn't been understood, then it's hard then to then try to think, what did she say in the morning time, right? Therefore, I want to clarify it. In the end, we make just a quick summary on the board. As many of you know, we make it a little interactive of what points we understood about chanting with service. So please keep listening. I feel a little serious today because of, I'm sorry about this, because of this essence of this chanting. I have days where I wake up and I have this intention to chant very nicely. And the day has gone by, and with different services, also service to the children and family, it's getting late sometimes recently that I'm able to finish the rounds that I've chanted. Now, what do we do in these circumstances? You know, it's like the default is, okay, one way or the other, get it done. One way or the other, get it done. And then the other way, which I'm trying to work on, and sometimes it helps, is like, okay, Krishna, please help me to forget what time of the day it is, or the state of my physical being at this moment, and please accept these rounds as service to you. You know, so it's a shift. In that moment, I think in those moments that one can shift, you know. I always think in a different time and space, it is a different time. You know, in India it's early when we are late. So maybe, and it's also, sometimes if it's very late, I think, there's Mangalati in Sri Vrindavan Dham. It's very nice. I try to avoid such late chanting, but in Kartik time, there is more. Most of us follow some sort of rat that we are doing. Most of us want to be more engaged in service at this time because it is our offering to the Lord. So it is that part. So we spoke about the holy name being a person. Next, we speak of the material tongue cannot chant. The material tongue cannot chant. So in this book, as most of you will know, I speak from a lot of points that Satchidananda Swami speaks about, but each point that he talks about is backed up from a verse from Shastra. In this idea, it is said that the material senses can only perceive the material. Our eyes can only see gross material objects. Our ears can only hear material sounds, and the tongue can only produce material syllables. The tongue cannot utter the holy name, which is entirely spiritual and identical with the Satchidananda Rupa of the Lord. Such a spiritual entity cannot be touched by the material senses. So what hope do we have then of chanting? Atta Shri Krishna namati na bhavad graham indriya sevan mukha hi jivado swayameva spurati adaha. This is from Sri Chaitanya Charanamrita, Madhya Leela 17:136. Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. You got this point, tongue, not just to chant, but also to taste the remnants of Krishna Prasad, to have Krishna Prasad. So it's important to take prasadam, to accept that this is the remnants of Sri Krishna, yeah? And the chanting. So 2 points then there. This is saying that by these simple approaches, the tongue becomes purified. So what is it if we say, I don't see it as spiritual, I'm just chanting because Subhadra Gopi Gita, when we have not fully realized that it's spiritual, the Hare Krishna, she looked at me a bit like blank, and I was like, oh goodness. I said, yeah, it's quite something, but it helps to bring the mind. And she said, no, it sounds very good. to have that repetition of a mantra that keeps it going in. So from an outside perspective, it also makes sense somehow to like repeat it in terms of a deepening meditation. So this word that I use, sevanmukha, it means, a Sanskrit word meaning one whose face is turned to service. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that sevanmukha means being inclined to accept the Lord's name and form in service. Physically, it's literally like when I'm looking in your direction, but I'm actually talking to Tungabhadra. It's a little off-putting, huh? Like, Tungabhadra, how was your day today? Is it going well? You're like, hi, Gopi Gita, here, I'm here, right? So sometimes it's also with our japa. We are talking Hare Krishna, but we are thinking of everything else, right? So going on. This vision of sevanmukha is talking about turning our face to the Lord in service. When we can turn our face internally to the japa meditation, it's that subtle change that makes that difference. When I speak, I'll speak directly to you. Makes a difference, right? So in that way, not only is the Lord able to reciprocate more, but we're also able to focus in more on what we're doing. Make sense? Makes sense now. I hope many of you can join in the evening so we can put it to practical application. As we learn to receive Krishna through the ears by chanting in a mood of service to him, we begin to naturally perform all 9 processes of bhakti during kirtan without even making an effort to do so. It starts with being present-minded, Guru Maharaj says, as opposed to absent-minded. Hearing, singing and meditating on the holy name. Turn to Krishna while you chant. Turn to Krishna in everything that you do. You know, in this moment. I understand it's difficult. Many of you were there for the full morning program. And we make, not a joke, but at the last moment where you need your most concentration is where you must sit very still, very still and listen. So in that way, it's amazing that you turn up. But in those moments, just to see if you can grasp a few parts. If there's parts in that you haven't understood what I'm saying, please just raise your hand again. You remember she was speaking something about the holy name and service. Service for me, enough for today. Huh? Now you're telling me again. Now pick up your japa bag and do some service. It's different, right? It's also the meaning seva. Seva meaning to serve, to give. It's a different moment where sometimes it's easier, I think, for many of us to think, okay, I don't just do this for myself, I do this to serve the Lord. I don't do my service. Narayani may think, I have to look after the guest house. Okay, I'm not really into looking through the messages today, but the guest is coming in 2 hours. Okay, let me serve the Vaishnava or Vaishnavi that comes. Okay, let me make the room ready. Okay, oh, I know this person. Oh yes, it's my dear friend. My guru is coming. My guru is coming. Oh my goodness. Let me make this really the best of my endeavor. Oh, okay. Oh, cleaning the bed. No, I won't just put the cover on. I will clean under the bed. Between the windowsill, everything else, make it. My guru is coming, very nice. One time Shriram Swami was coming, and they even made a point of cleaning on top of each of the books that was there, and it was Krishna Kshetra's library was there at that time, so it was really amazing for this service. So in the same way, if we also had this, okay, it's time to chant. This is like, it's very, I think, in this way important, therefore, to have a nice bead bag that one has. One feels somehow attracted to it if it works for you. Of course, the bead bag is there to also keep the beads tidy. So some people will argue that better not to have a picture of Krishna, but it's different. If you're keeping it clean regularly, then it's also very nice. So in this moment, this is one of our most sacred tools in the whole of our spiritual life. This is our element of our service. Therefore, it's always very wonderful if we always put our japa bead bag also in a very special place. Some people will worship the Nam. They have written the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra or have it engraved and worship on the altar. In the same way, in space, we can also see that our japa should be kept somewhere near us. One time I was in England with Satchidananda Swami, and I think he had a appointment with an osteopath, so for the back, and there was his bead bag on sort of above by the windscreen. And I said, "Oh, Guru Maharaj, should we keep your bead bag there?" Because I thought he had you should always have your japa mala with you. And I think he carried on to say, we don't know what circumstances will fall upon us. So it's important that we should carry them with us. And in that moment, it's quite some years ago, I was in my 20s.